The fight for the future is now. This is The War Room with Owen Shroyer.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The War Room. We've got a lot of important news coming up today when it comes to how the Democrats are trying to impeach the president, run a coup on this country. Reaction to the Democrat debates last night. In fact, I'll probably open up the phone lines and get your take on that. And we've got the president calling out the military-industrial complex during a press conference today. So that is very powerful stuff. Before we get into the important news, though, I wanted to have a little fun with our communist leader, LeBron James, who has now said he's done talking about the NBA and the China issue because now it's so toxic, and this is now his legacy, not whatever he accomplishes in his career as a professional basketball player. No, as a Chinese communist bootlicker and as a total fraud who really let himself down, according to at least prior comments he's made. We'll play that clip. But first, this has really been meme-tastic, this whole LeBron James things. So I wanted to have a little fun to start the broadcast today before we got too serious. And I wanted to just go through some of my favorite memes. So I've probably even forgotten some of these. But I told the crew to just pull up some of the memes that I favorited on Twitter. So they pulled them up. So let's just go through some of these memes, some of this artistic glory given to us by the internet, thanks to LeBron James admitting he's a communist bootlicker. Oh, yes, there is President Xi spanking LeBron James for not bowing to China and kissing the boots. So how dare LeBron say, there's very nice. The communists dictate LeBron. That's LeBron Zhang. No, guys, actually go back. If you notice, that's LeBron Zhang. LeBron Zhang, yes. Communist dictator LeBron Zhang. Thank you, LeBron. All right, what do we have next here? Let's go ahead and roll this. Oh, this it's a Chinese national anthem? Yes. LeBron gets real hype for the Chinese national anthem. Oh, man. That's good stuff right there. Thank you, LeBron. Very nice. All right. Do we have anything else? Was that the extent of? Oh, here we go. Oh, LeBron is showing his new. He's going to be wearing this come playoff time. That's playoff LeBron now, going full Chinese Communist Party military outfit. But that's playoff LeBron. That's when the big viewership is in, so he can really promote the Chinese Communist Party. He looks good, I think, in the Chinese military attire there. I think that's a good look for LeBron Zhang. Oh, this is a great one. Now, you need a little context if you're not a basketball fan. But in 2018, okay, so the meme is LeBron in 2018, and he has a desperate face, and he's pointing to his tweet from 2018 that says, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter." And that's LeBron James in 2018, and then crying and showing that to LeBron James in 2019. Now, the basketball context is that's from the NBA Finals that year, and the player at the bottom of the screen, what was it, with like 5 seconds left, down by 2, dribbles the ball out. Down by 2, and that was the face LeBron made at the most asinine play maybe in NBA Finals history, but now it's turned into that. Oh, yes! Now you see LeBron accepting a pile of cash money from the Chinese president. Very good. Oh, yes. LeBron James called Daryl Morey and said, LeBron said to Daryl, "That wasn't very cash money of you, Daryl. That wasn't very cash money of you at all. How dare you, Daryl Morey." It's Wednesday, October 16th, 2019. This is the Infowars.com War Room. Brought to you by InfoWarsStore.com. Coming up today, I've got Based Amy joining us. She's been on before. She is the one that punctured the Trump balloon, that abomination of humor. She's the one that punctured that. And I believe, I apologize for not having all my prep work. Are they trying to put her in jail? Is that what's going on? Yeah, they're trying to put her in jail. So we're going to give her a platform here because, you know, free speech is banned in Europe. So Based Amy joins us in the first hour. The second hour, I want to open up the phone lines and take your calls on last night's presidential debate. And I know that we have regular callers that probably are already picking up their phone to dial in. Please let some new callers get on the line before you guys start dialing in. I'd like to hear from some new voices and some other voices that can't get in as much because the lines are always busy. So we're going to do that in the second hour. Your response to last night's Democrat debate. Was it relevant? What do you think comes from it? And we'll kind of measure some of the odds making before and after. And then Larry Johnson in the third hour is going to be joining me. And so we will talk about the latest LeBron James bowing to China, and then some other news as well that we're going to be looking at when it comes to the sports culture with Larry Johnson. But I think the two big stories right now, as far as politically relevant, you've got President Trump calling out the military-industrial complex. We're going to have that clip. That's huge. I don't think a president has ever done that since Eisenhower on his farewell speech. And then, for the second straight day, Adam Schiff is censoring Republicans, banning Republicans, kicking Republicans out of these impeachment inquiries that Shifty Schiff is having. So they call for transparency, and then they kick out Republicans when they're having their secret hearings. So that is going on. We've got those clips. For the third straight day, CNN releases Project Veritas releases another undercover video exposing CNN. And pretty much what was released by Project Veritas came true, or it was already true, but the debate cemented some of the stuff that we saw coming out from Project Veritas on their exposed CNN. Part 2 specifically, where they talk about favoring Warren, and we've got the clip where Tulsi Gabbard is talking, and she's about to ask Warren a question, and CNN cuts her off and goes to break. And you can actually see in the clip, and Tulsi Gabbard tweeted it out, but you can see in the clip she's shaking her head. She knows what's up. And we'll get into this in the second hour when I take your calls, but I don't know. I was a little gaslit by Tulsi Gabbard last night when she said Trump has the blood of the Kurds on his hands. I thought it was totally disingenuous, totally untrue, and I said that she sold out. But you do have to say, she at least stuck to a consistent message of ending these endless wars, bringing the troops home, and all the mistakes we've made in foreign policy in the Middle East. But to blame that on Trump is so disingenuous, it really almost spoils the whole message. It almost sours the entire presentation, which is sad. But that's what she had to do to get on that stage. How about what Tom Steyer had to do to get on that stage? A lot of the odds making we did right here in the War Room came true. The one thing that didn't, which I was shocked about, nobody went after Joe Biden. But thinking about this in hindsight, it actually makes sense, because if you call out Joe Biden for all his dirty dealings, how many of these other Democrat candidates are now all of a sudden on the chopping block that have been doing the exact same stuff, if not similar things, including the likes of Nancy Pelosi? So I think Nancy Pelosi said Joe Biden is untouchable tonight. You can't go after him for the Ukraine stuff. Let's move on from that. And even Cory Booker said, how dare we go down this road of a Trump attack against Biden? So they're even running protection for Biden up there. So it really goes to show you they don't care about corruption or collusion or any of that stuff. They're all a bunch of phonies. But you already knew that. But Tom Steyer with what, his 7 minutes on, I think? Yeah, 7 minutes. He dedicated at one part, he said, the biggest thing is climate change. So Tom Steyer, I'll actually give him credit. And it's too bad that whoever did his makeup made him look like a reanimated corpse, like in a bad Hollywood zombie movie. But I almost actually have respect for Tom Steyer spending $48 million of his own money to get on that debate stage. He had to have a financial cap to qualify. FEC released his funds. It was like 47 plus $1 million. So just shy of $48 million, Tom Steyer's own cash to get on that debate stage and tell you about climate change. So I almost give him credit. At least he's putting his money where his mouth is. And I was talking to Gregory East the other day, and, you know, sometimes we talk about reports because he puts out great reports, so I'll give him an idea sometimes. And I said, you know, Greg, you should do a hard-hitting report sometime on all of the money spent during these primaries. I mean, you could just do the last two presidential runs. I mean, you're looking at billions of dollars spent on candidates that don't even get nominated. I mean, think about that. I mean, so we can sit here and complain about the poor and the homeless and all of this stuff and healthcare and the schools, but we're spending billions of dollars on campaigns that are not even real campaigns. If you think about it, it's like Bernie Sanders got asked last night. They said, you're 78 years old. You just had a heart attack. How can you assure people that you're healthy enough? And basically what he said was, well, I can't, but I'm going to be campaigning and fundraising anyway. Go to BernieSanders2020.com. And you're just like, oh. And the crowd cheers. Like, oh. It's like, yeah, I'm pretty unhealthy. Just had a heart attack. Could die at any minute, but that's not going to stop me from taking your money. BernieSanders.com, 2020. Thank you. $25. Yes. Grassroots. And then don't worry, just like 2016, as soon as the time comes, Bernie Sanders will throw in the white towel. It was a good campaign, but you just didn't donate enough. And he'll blame it on you, and then he'll take your money and run. He's a champion at that. Give him credit. So we're going to cover all that. But I guess Tom Steyer's less of a fraud than Bernie Sanders because he basically paid $50 million just to tell you about climate change last night. So we got more crazy Democrats. We'll take your calls in the second hour. Based Amy coming up in the first, Larry Johnson in the third. Folks, the extended coverage we do, hiring more crew, hiring more reporters, building band.video. It's all possible with your support at InfoWarsStore.com. We've still got the Everything Must Go sale happening right now at InfoWarsStore.com. Free shipping store-wide, up to 70% off some of the products at InfoWarsStore.com. If you haven't tried the supplements, now is the time. Now's the time to get over to InfoWarsStore.com and try some of the supplements while they're at this deep discount, whether it's Survival Shield X3, 75% off, whether it's Super Male Vitality, whether it's the Bodies, whether it's the Ultimate Krill Oil, whether it's the Honor Roll, or other great supplements. We'll open the calls in the second hour, and people will call in and talk about the great supplements. But read the reviews for yourself. Now's the time to give it a try. If you want to just start supplementing and with a great deal, the 8-pack Power Stack from InfoWarsStore.com, great place to start. That's at a deep discount right now at InfoWarsStore.com. All right, when we come back, we're going to get to some of these clips of what Adam Schiff is doing to run a treasonous coup against Donald Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, there is an all-out war on Donald Trump, the President of the United States, and on the Republic of the United States of America. This attack comes every day from the media and from corrupt members of Congress and beyond. Now, the President had an important meeting with Democrats today on what's happening in Syria. And you've got all these people of Congress, members of Congress saying, oh, how dare Trump? The blood is on his hands. Even Tulsi Gabbard, when she's like, well, actually, this is because of prior administrations, but I'm going to blame Trump anyway because that's what they told me to do to get on this stage. And so here's Trump doing exactly what Obama said he'd do, exactly what liberal progressives have been claiming to want to do forever, exactly what Tulsi Gabbard wants to do, and that's remove troops from the Middle East, get troops out of Syria and stop the endless wars in the Middle East. And then Trump does it, and somehow it's his fault, all the bad things that have happened, but we still need to do it, but Trump's still bad. So there was a meeting today with Trump and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and others when it came to the Syria thing. And this is the Democrats trying to use this as another wedge to destroy the Trump administration and the Trump agenda. And so he wouldn't go along with this, leaving more troops in Syria or expanding the war there or whatever it is. And we got some other clips from President Trump today, too. But here's Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. Let's go to this. They are in front of Congress right now doing a press conference. Let's go to this right now.
Madam Speaker, you just said the president is not relaying to...
It did not come up. It did not come up. No, it did not come up. It did not come up.
When he called you a communist, he did not call you.
Madam Speaker, you just said earlier
that... He said the communists are taking over...
Some of ISIS were
communists, and...
All right. That is a pretty interesting development that just happened at the White House. A meeting with Congress.
Interesting. And, so that just happened, folks. And then, guys, if you want to keep playing it, actually, Neil Cavuto goes on. In fact, we should probably just play this because this is Fox News now pushing for the troops to stay in Syria, blaming Trump for the Kurds, actually. We should just roll this. Go ahead.
Were repudiated 354 to 60 that he botched it on Syria and that pulling troops out of there ignited a crisis that could have been avoided and has let ISIS loose on the world, so to speak.
And then they play a fake video and claim it's Trump's fault.
Meantime, we've got the House Intelligence Committee member Chris Stewart joining us on these fast-moving developments. We had you on the other auspices, Congressman. I would appreciate your thoughts on this Syria blow-up here and whether the president did indeed botch it. A good many of your colleagues agree. Do you think he botched it?
Well, I don't think I would describe it that way. I think I would say first, this is an incredibly complicated part of the world. You have at least...
Well, what don't you agree about, sir? I mean, 354 congressmen and women of both parties overwhelmingly said, we think what you did in Syria was a mistake. They condemned it.
Yeah, well, again, I just think the
what Trump did in Syria.
Really
again,
strong.
Trump didn't do this. Trump's trying to bring the troops home. All right, you can pull it down now. But so here's Fox News cutting off the reality of what's happening here. I don't know what happened with the Chuck Schumer Nancy thing. That seemed to be cut off abruptly. They're fumbling around. They can't get their story straight. So Trump's got them in total shambles. And then Neil Cavuto comes in to save the day. Trump bad on Syria, yes. And then the member of the House, conservative Republican, is like, no. And Cavuto's like, but yes. Look at what Congress said with all the Democrats that hate him. They say they want to end war, but the Trump's actually trying to do it, and Trump's bad, right? No, I wouldn't say that, Neil. And so this is Fox News. Yeah, really loyal there, aren't they? But it's not even a matter of being loyal. It's a matter of being real. And I guess sometimes they just can't be real, at least some of them over there. Now, let's actually go now to what the president said today during a joint press conference. And again, if this was a liberal Democrat saying this, or anybody but Trump even, the Democrats, liberal progressives, the peaceniks, hippies, everybody, they'd say, peace and love, bring the troops home, peace and love. No more wars. Oh, but Trump says it and it's somehow bad. But listen to President Trump. This is the first president that I know of calling out the military-industrial complex since Dwight Eisenhower. Roll the clip.
Our great soldiers back home where they belong. We don't have to fight these endless wars. We're bringing them back home. That's what I want on. And some people, whether it's you call it the military-industrial complex or beyond that, they'd like me to stay. One of the problems I have, and one of, for instance, with the witch hunt, you have people that want me to stay. They want me to fight forever. They do very well fighting. That's what they want to do, fight. A lot of companies want to fight because they make their weapons based on fighting, not based on peace. And they take care of a lot of people. I want to bring our soldiers back home. We're not a police force. We're a fighting force. We're the greatest fighting force ever. I spent $2.5 trillion over the last almost 3 years rebuilding our military. When I took it over, it was a mess.
So there you go. Trump calling out the military-industrial complex, calling out the never-ending wars, say he ran on stopping them. He wants to actually do it. There's so much pressure in D.C. to keep these wars going. He's calling it all out. Again, if he was under any name but Trump, if he was a liberal, progressive Democrat, it would be party in the streets. It would be confetti. It would be, thank God, it would be 10 Nobel Peace Prizes. But because it's Trump, it gets no clout, it gets no headlines, and it falls upon deaf ears, a president finally calling for peace and actually meaning it. Really goes to show you, doesn't it? All these peaceniks, these fake peaceniks in the media, these fake liberal progressive Democrats that want to end war, they don't have any foundation, folks. They don't have any values. And it's all being proven now. Now let's go to the president. Same press conference, calling out an ABC News reporter asking him a question on this. Same ABC News that ran that fake footage.
I want to pick up on what your comments on Turkey and Syria.
Sure.
Even after all you have seen, ISIS prisoners freed, all the humanitarian disaster, you don't have any regret for giving Erdogan the green light to invade?
I didn't give him a green light.
Well, did you tell him?
That's
did
the same thing as you just, when you make a statement like that, it's so deceptive. Just the opposite of a green light. First of all, we had virtually no soldiers there. They were mostly gone. Just a tiny little group. And they would have been in harm's way. You have a massive army on the other side of the border. But more importantly, I didn't give him a green light. And if anybody saw the letter, which can be released very easily if you'd like, I could certainly release it. But I wrote a letter right after that conversation, a very powerful letter. There was never given a green light. They've been wanting to do that for years, and frankly, they've been fighting for many, many years. And when you ask a question like that, it's very deceptive, John. It's almost as deceptive as you showing all of the bombings taking place in Syria, and it turned out that the bombing that you showed on television took place in Kentucky. So, and I'm not even sure that ABC apologized for that, but certainly it was a terrible thing. I'm looking at this, I say, wow, that's pretty bad. And it was in Kentucky, it wasn't in Syria. So I don't know what you're going to do about that, but I think ABC owes an apology.
And by the way, just as a factoid to put in here, the Turkish military is not allowing any press behind their lines. So any footage is basically coming from not the Turkish military, or behind the lines of their military, but other sources. That's just a little factoid. But there you go, folks. President Trump calls out the military-industrial complex, calls out the fake news for trying to start more wars in the Middle East, and gets no credit from the same liberal progressive Democrats that have been crying world peace for decades. Stop the wars in the Middle East. Here comes President Trump to actually do it, and they're silent because they're brainwashed fools. They're not independent thinkers. All right, so Based Amy is with us at Real Based Amy, website basedamy.com. Apparently, she's under all kinds of attack now. Again, this is the individual that punctured the baby Trump balloon, that obnoxious, immature thing that the left does every time Trump goes to a major city. They fly this balloon of Trump in a diaper. Really kind of pedophilic and strange, but okay. She decided to puncture it. Well, now she is being threatened with arrest and apparently under personal attack with them going after her internet connection and stuff. But she's managed to be able to join us. So, Based Amy, what is the plight that you're going through right now for daring to have free speech in Europe?
Hey, Owen, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you having me on. Things are quite surreal at the moment. I've had my internet my phone line cut 5 times since I last spoke to you. In fact, it only happened a few hours after I finished our conversation. I know things look a bit dramatic now, but I'm having to come to you from my car because the line's been cut, and I'm prevented from being able to tell you who is taking me to court on the 8th of November, but I have spoken about it quite a lot. Our freedom of speech is under attack completely. Oh, and in case you hadn't noticed, the First Amendment here does not seem to exist anymore. And I am going on trial on the 8th because I gave an MP my opinion politely, quite politely, I have to say. And the last time I had contact with this person was 6 months ago. And just before the deadline happened where they can take you to court, I'm sorry, Owen, I know I'm going on. I'm just a bit distracted because I'm having to come to my car because of I'm having to rely on a dongle thing you know, the mobile phone. I'm on a VPN. I'm completely. I feel like I'm in the Matrix. I mean,
so wait, now hold on a second. It sounds to me, because you started talking about your trial coming up.
Yeah. Sorry.
Are you? No. I mean, you're trying to avoid talking about that because you're afraid you're going to get thrown in jail for doing it.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm prohibited from naming the member of parliament who has accused me of harassment, Owen, and it is
harassment. I'm sorry for interrupting. So you can't even talk about your public representatives. You can't even talk about your government officials now in the UK, and then they say, "Oh, you're harassing me."
And then when you see, luckily, Owen, everything that happened is on film, so it's not just my word against that person. It's my footage will speak for me.
And where can we find this footage so the audience can see it?
It's on my YouTube channel. It's on my website, and it's definitely on my YouTube channel. You can find it, or not if not on my website, basedamy.com. And
well, look, I don't want you to say anything that's going to get you arrested here. I mean, I understand the severity of the situation right now. We all know what happened to Tommy Robinson. I mean, is there like? Can you be sarcastic? Is it like you can? I mean, is it like? Oh, I'm so sorry for speaking my mind. I'm so sorry for criticizing a government official. Oh, please, authoritarian UK, don't punish me for having free thought. Oh, please, I beg you, I'll do anything. I mean, is that what they want you to do? I mean, seriously, I'm not trying to get you arrested, so maybe that's the answer here. It's like, let's just engage in some sarcasm like, oh, Based Amy, you're a horrible person for thinking independently and for calling out government corruption or having an opinion. How dare you? You shouldn't have the right to a phone line or nothing.
This is where we are, Owen. The thing is that the majority of people in this country have no idea what's going on because we have the fake stream media like you. And of course, somebody like me who questions the establishment, questions the rule of law, is considered extreme right wing. I'm considered some kind of listen. My YouTube channel has been monitored by the counterterrorism police because of this. Totally,
well, I got to be honest with you. Amy. Considering your circumstances, I mean, this is you're on a tightrope here because I feel like the only reason they let you still have the YouTube channel is so that you can say that they're hoping you'll say something that they can use against you.
You know what, Owen? I have been for this. What happened? I was strip searched. I've never been so. I can't tell you the forcibly by 3 police women because the sergeant decided that could happen. It was the most. I don't know. I can't put it into words how it felt to be. This was people in uniform, lawfully, well, not lawfully, but doing what they could do, and there was nobody for me to call to help for because.
So what was? I mean, can you even talk to what it was you were quote unquote harassing this public official about? What was the issue? Are you not even allowed to talk about that? Are you allowed to name the public official? I mean, how much?
No, I'm gagged from my bail conditions, right? I mean, I've been very, very proactive in what's been going on with Brexit. I'm 100% Brexit, no deal. President Trump is trying to reach out to us. He's completely made it perfectly clear that he's ready to just make everything happen. And I am 100% on the Brexit. I'm against any kind of deal because it'll be a treaty. We'll be stuck in this Fourth Reich. And so I have made it a point over at least a year, more than, going to Parliament, going outside, challenging the media, challenging the narrative, but doing it with my not swearing. I don't swear, Owen.
No, this is what it is exactly. It doesn't even matter. You could be swearing all day. This is it exactly. They don't want political activists. They're making an example of people like Tommy Robinson. They're trying to make an example of people like you. They don't want anybody to be active. They don't want anybody to have courage. And so they just intimidate you, and then they threaten you with violence, and then they threaten you with arrest, and then they just threaten your life. And that's where they're at with Tommy, and now that's where they're going with you. So they don't want any other Based Amy's out there.
honestly, Owen, there's people in prison right now, and the crime that they committed was speaking their mind, criticizing the status quo, criticizing not even the status quo, but what is going on because of Islam. And we are under Sharia for the most part. You cannot criticize. It's a protected population, and that is obviously, I've been involved in sort of speaking out but here's the thing, Owen, I have up until now, I have got a voice. People know about what's going on. I've been able to put stuff up on YouTube and other platforms. Unfortunately, there are people in prison right now serving time because they dared speak their opinion. They dared to criticize. And what is so bizarre, because we don't have, here's the thing, the media is everything, right? The media is our voice to the world. And if the media is not talking about it, and whenever they do, all they do is condemn and portray you as some kind of extremist, then people don't want to hear it. And so we are literally sleepwalking. People are I'm not sleepwalking. A lot of us who are awoken to what is going on are screaming as loud as we can, but everybody...
Yeah, but, they got a new soccer stadium up there in Tottenham, and, that's all the rave, so let's go scream at a football game, with the cool new $1 billion stadium.
Isn't that
this is...
thing?
So, look, basedamy.com, @RealBasedAmy. What's your YouTube channel?
It's Based Amy. Based Amy is my YouTube channel. And listen, Owen, I'm going to fight. I'll go to prison for this. If I will not plead guilty like other people have. I will defend our right to speak our opinion and challenge those in authority. And it's, our First Amendment is our 29J, which is what I've spoken about a lot. And also Article 19 of the Universal Charter on Human Rights gives us a right to express ourselves. This is England. This is a democracy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Infowars.com War Room. This is kind of a unique and delicate situation. And I don't want to be putting my guest in a situation where she says something that gets her arrested, because, believe me, they're monitoring everything that our guest, Based Amy, says. That's probably why they still let her have a YouTube channel. And she's already been gagged just to stay out of jail. They say, hey, censor yourself. You don't get any free speech. We'll let you walk the streets. I mean, that's what's really happening here, folks. I mean, that's what this is. Say, we'll let you walk freely. We'll let you be a citizen, but not until you comply with our authoritarian government. So that means shut the hell up, turn your guns in, and you get no privacy, you stupid peasant citizen. And if you speak out against that, well, they threaten you with jail, or they arrest you, or they torture you like they've done to Tommy Robinson. But look, Amy, it's kind of cryptic what you said in the last segment. I mean, you said you'll go to prison for this. I know you were speaking like out of foresight, but it's almost cryptic because it's probably true. So I don't want to put you in a situation. I don't know if anybody else has interviewed you since this. So I don't want you to say anything that's going to have you arrested. But again, folks, if you're in the UK, they have killed free speech. And if you're a political activist like Tommy Robinson or Based Amy, they're trying to destroy your life, and they will throw you in jail. Now, that's what Based Amy is going through right now. So just say what you'd like to say to my audience about what's going on with free speech in the UK. And, I mean, where do you think it goes from here, Amy? Because they're obviously not going to stop.
No, they're not going to stop. What it is, it's people like you and Alex, just a lifeline to people like me and those of us in England, because we don't have any real big media presence here. Even on YouTube, it's all very bitty. And Tommy, since what he's been through, he's not. I don't know what his conditions are or anything, but unfortunately, Owen, I don't know why, but I'm struggling to get the word out. And obviously, if people don't hear what's going on, it's not happening. And that's the whole sleepwalking thing. Is this? Well,
then let me ask you this: is there any journalists in the UK? I mean, is this the first interview you've done? Is anybody giving you a platform at all?
No. Sorry, the American perspective. I did a podcast with the American. Reached out to me. There seems to be a sort of listen. I'll state facts. People draw their own conclusions because I'm not looking as a victim. I'm doing what I'm doing because it's the right thing to do. And what people's opinions are, I cannot be responsible for. All I do is, my work speaks for itself. It's out there. So all I can say is, I have had to. I called off the support financially. I've been trying to get legal help, but I can't raise the funds. I haven't been able to raise sufficient amount. A few people have contributed, which is fantastic, but time is running out because I'm on trial on the 8th. And with the judicial system we have here, it's a magistrate's court, which the person who's presiding isn't even a judge. They're just middle class. They're middle to upper class people who get the job. They don't know the law. They get prompted by a clerk, and nothing is recorded in magistrates' courts. Nothing is written down. It's very surreal, Owen, because I've been through the magistrates' court.
I can't even imagine. You're literally dealing with a rigged court system, a rigged judicial system, no free speech.
No.
I mean, look, there's a bunch of popular YouTube channels and stuff for people that are in the UK and in London and in Britain. I mean, what do you think the case here is? Are they afraid to have you on because of their own, personal concerns and they're being censored? Or do you think people just don't even know what you're going through?
I think, the thing is, Owen, with this sort of situation, there's an awful lot of personalities out there. There's an awful lot of agendas. The thing is, the motivation that I have is genuinely pure for freedom, for what our duty is to try and spread the truth and the facts that are as we discover them, because obviously our fake media, the lying media that's under the globalists' thumb, is completely covering it up. And or look what's going on. I mean, I can't believe what's happening to President Trump and what he's doing. It is just, honestly, I mean, I was born there, Owen, and when I witnessed the absolute, the skullduggery, the open treason, the open treachery, I can't believe my eyes. And when I hear the British media pick it up and carry on with the fake lies and the condemnation, and as you said before, with the Syria thing, with the whole, everybody was always no war, no war. And when obviously President Trump is doing, all he does is a trade war, that's what he was to focus on, he's condemned. It is.
And then they blame him for that when they all sign these horrible deals. Yeah, it's really unbelievable. Look, I can't even imagine what you're going through. There's some cases.
I just need help.
There's some cases in. Yeah. Because it's like I have people sending me emails every day like, why don't you talk about Schaefer Cox and what he's going through? And it's like, man, we've covered that. I don't know what to do. I mean, I wish I could do more to help Based Amy. She's dealing with a rigged judicial system. They've totally censored her free speech. People in the UK are too afraid of getting thrown in jail for what she's doing. They won't even talk to her or have her on or mention what she's doing. So, it's really sad too, because it's like, you just know where this is going, and I know that you've already made this decision, Amy. But just go ahead and make a final comment here, Amy. I just really can't even imagine dealing with such a rigged system, knowing what they're going to do to you, and you're just going for it anyway.
I have to. You know what it's like. Once you know, you can't stay quiet. I mean, it is so bad. And obviously, the whole saying of if it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody. And it is happening. It has been happening. Look what's happened to Tommy. But unfortunately, he's limited. He's obviously been portrayed as a certain person, a certain way. And people have not been objectively looking at what has happened. And again, with what's happening to me, honestly, it is so surreal. The Matrix thing, I don't know if it's a Matrix or what, but I am going to keep on fighting. I am imploring people to try to help spread the word that we are in terrible, terrible danger. We need Brexit. We need to leave. This is the whole thing, Owen. We've got to get out. We've got to break free. We cannot have a deal with that Fourth Reich, because this is why our speech is gone. This is where our freedoms have gone. They've been bled away over the decades, and we're now at a point where people don't even realize what they can or can't do. And they've been dumbed down and distracted by the football, by the, other look over here, don't look over there. And all I'm saying, Owen, I want to thank everybody. Thank you so much for having me on. I just implore people to just just wake the hell up, because we are running out of time to save democracy as we knew it. It is just completely transformed. And I'll show you, I got this from a friend who's Patriotic Twins UK, gave me my lovely survival shield. So I take a few drops of that. And, you got to, I tell you what, Owen, I'm going to keep going. I say, prison is prison. I obviously don't want to go to prison, but I'm prepared to go to protect the freedom to speak out and try to preserve, be able to question the representatives, to be able to question those in authority. I have no choice. It is what it is. I've got to do what I've got to do, and what will be will be. But I just ask that everybody, please, spread the word. This is not a drill. This is not a dream. It's a bit of a nightmare, but it's really happening. And
no, that's it. That's it exactly. You just nailed it on the head right there. This is reality. This is your reality. And the sad thing is, people can't really comprehend it really until they have to go through it themselves, which is the sad truth. But in different scenarios, I understand what you're going through, not the severity, but it's like you have to make a decision. It's like, if I stay on this path, I know where it ends up, and you know what that means. I just salute you. Your courage is inspiring. I hope that more people in the UK get your story out there. I hope that personalities in the UK mention this, cover this, come together. But you nailed it too. I mean, the EU is the Fourth Reich. You're now dealing with the Fourth Reich. It is the EU. Wow, you're a real inspiration. We salute you, Based Amy. Again, at Real Based Amy on Twitter, website basedamy.com. Godspeed and God bless you.
Thank you. I'm Based Amy out.
All right, there she goes. A political activist who is being gagged, censored, and threatened with prison because she dare question things in the UK. Now, I'm sorry. It's just so real, and it's just, they're probably she's going to end up in jail, folks. What do you do? And I'm just sitting here like, hey, I don't want that to come to the West. But hey, look, even the big King James can be censored. I got to be honest, that's one of the most emotional interviews I've ever done, because I realized that, we are so lucky to live in America where we have free speech. And it's heavy like a stone taking you to the depths of the ocean. And you can't resist it when they cut your free speech like that. And I just think, if I was anywhere else but America, could I do this? Would I have a voice? Would I be able to speak my mind? Would I be able to call out corruption? Would I be able to cover news and stories like I want? And in most of the world, the answer is no, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm sitting here reflecting on that interview, realizing how lucky I am to have free speech. And that's me reflecting on that as somebody that's one of the most censored individuals in America. It's honestly, it's so grounding. It's tough to even cover news, because if future generations don't have these rights of free speech, to bear arms, the right to privacy, all under total assault right now, there is no future for America. And they can still fly the American flag, and they can still do the elections. It's all ceremonious. It's all a fraud. It's all a front. And it's just, it's not even depressing. It's just really just gut-wrenching that this is where we're at. And you've got clips of Democrats calling for Trump's Twitter to be taken down, totally against free speech. They're working with big tech to censor free speech with voices like Alex Jones and myself and InfoWars. Beto O'Rourke is up there saying, we're going to take your guns. I mean, what in the hell, man? And so at a certain point, again, I can sit here and cover the fact that, I mean, I'll play the clips. Adam Schiff engaged in total deception, a total cover-up. Of course, it all stems back to the Obama administration. I mean, we know what's going on. But it's like, fine, you don't care about political corruption. Do you care about free speech? Do you care about individual sovereignty? Do you care about having a right as a human being? But that's the thing. Until you've been put in that compactor, in that space compactor of reality in your mind, until you have felt the compactor compressing your mind, trying to squash you, yeah, you really cannot comprehend it. And I guess watching a football game is more of an urgency. Or getting the new big music video from Cardi B or the new album drop from your favorite artist. That's the sense of urgency. The big game, that's the sense of urgency. You've never had your mind in that compactor. And so I'm sorry, I'm just kind of reeling from that interview because it's just hard to really grasp, folks, how real it is until you've experienced it. And when you know where it's going and you see it coming to fruition in the West, it's like, hello, and then we are the idols. Like LeBron James are kissing the boot of the Chinese Communist Party. I mean, folks, see, it's just, I'm just speechless. This is where we're at, folks. What are you going to do? All right, I'm going to get myself centered and focused again, but I just got to say one more thing as I'm still stuck on the interview with Based Amy. You know, they've already done this to Mike Flynn. They've already done this to Roger Stone. So it's really already here, folks. Because it's limited in scope and because the media and the press aren't giving it fair attention or coverage, you don't hear about it. But they've already done this to Roger Stone. And, you know, I think there's a part of me that tries to bury that from my intellectual thought capacity on a daily basis. And then when you do an interview like that, it's like the door opens again and it all comes rushing in. And it's heavy. I'm not going to lie, it's heavy. And like I said, it's like a stone, and it's hard to come back up to the surface knowing that that's what's going on. But I'm going to do my best here. Try to focus and play these clips. Let me do it by, let me distract myself first before I go to these clips, because the crew just brought me this story. Just came out yesterday from the Daily Mail. Breathing polluted air could age the memory by 10 years in the worst affected areas, study warns. Breathing polluted air could damage the memory and age the brain by 10 years. High levels of nitrogen dioxide and particulates affect memory. And these studies are coming out of the UK. And, of course, this coincides with the studies that we've covered that say the average home in the U.S. is as polluted as a major metropolitan area. So you tie these two things together, breathing in the air in your home could age your memory by 10 years now. Now, look, we see these problems in the modern world, and we want solutions. We see the toxic water, we see the toxic air. So, yeah, we want solutions. Of course we want solutions. And then we figure it's common sense. If we want solutions, you want solutions. So we offer the solutions at InfoWarsStore.com. So, yeah, you want to preserve your memory. You want to not breathe in the toxic air. We have air filters. I've got 2 in my home. We've got them all around the office. This isn't InfoWars fear-mongering. This isn't us making something up. This is the reality. We take studies that are done. In this case, the air in the average U.S. home is as polluted as a major metropolitan area, which they just claimed could age your memory 10 years. You know what? We want to preserve that beautiful memory given to us by God. What perfect timing. The Alexa Pure Breeze air filter is 40% off right now. That is a deep, deep discount, ladies and gentlemen. I believe that's the deepest discount I've ever seen the Alexa Pure Breeze at. 40% off right now at InfoWarsStore.com. Read the hundreds of 5-star reviews at InfoWarsStore.com. In fact, I'm telling you, this product, the Alexa Pure Breeze air filter, you will notice the difference immediately in your home, especially if you have a pet. If you have a pet, that's the biggest one. I have a pet tortoise who eats a lot and contributes to global warming a lot, if you know what I'm saying. Can get a little stinky. I have the air filter right next to his tank, and I'm telling you, it does a world of difference. A world of difference. If my tortoise farts, the thing kicks on. If my tortoise burps, the thing kicks on. So, yeah, you probably don't want to keep a sulcata tortoise in your house unless you have one of these. But we don't do the studies on the air pollution. We just take the studies and say, hey, look, the air is polluted. It gets into your home. Here's an air filter so that you don't have to breathe that in. So if you've got young children, put one in their room so they don't have to breathe it in. Put it in your bedroom. Put it in your kitchen. Put it next to your pet's bed or home where they sleep, whatever. InfoWarsStore.com. So, hey, just do the smart thing like we would do and get an air filter. Because if you have a lizard like that creating bubbles in the bath, you're probably going to want to have an air filter. That's an interesting one, guys. You guys are really digging deep when you find an iguana farting in a bathtub. I mean, that is dedication to your job. Wow. That's why we pay them the big bucks to work on the crew here on the War Room. Because, yeah, if you've got a pet iguana farting in the bathtub, the Alexa Pure Breeze from InfoWarsStore.com. But in all seriousness, folks, seriously, get the air filter. It's 40% off right now. And plus, with the free shipping, you're saving a lot of money on that. It's a heavy item, expensive to ship. Hey, but if you're worried about like installation or it being difficult, it's the simplest thing. Honestly, you put the filter in, it gives you all the directions, and you push power. There's even an auto run. It runs itself. This technology is awesome. Alexa Pure Breeze, InfoWarsStore.com. Don't breathe in the polluted air. All right, I've talked so much about this that I'm not even going to have time to get to these clips. So let me get to a couple other clips and give out the phone number, 888-201-2244. 888-201-2244. The regular callers, please hold to let some other people get on the line because we like to hear from different voices and first-time callers, but the regular callers usually clog up the lines before we can even do that. But 888-201-2244. We'd like to hear from some first-time callers or some people that don't get in too often. What did you think about the debates last night? What do you think about CNN literally running their rejoin, the most trusted name in news, as they get totally exposed as fake news? The NBA, everybody kowtowing to China, the illegal impeachment process right now the Democrats are engaging in with Schiff running the shiftiest things you'll ever see. But first, let's go here. Let's do this because I got all these clips. I'm probably only going to have 2 segments to take calls, but let's go now. Let's have let me lighten my mood a little bit. Let's go to clip 16 now. You can buy the brand new commie AOC. There's so much propaganda in this. It's hilarious. AOC, in fact, this is one of those things where I almost don't even believe what I'm seeing. So here's the brand new AOC action figure. But is this even real? I almost don't even believe. Here's the AOC action figure. Check it out. Coming to a store near you. I love how they have. This is a little. Tell me what a feminist looks like. This is what a feminist looks like. Tell me what a Democrat looks like. This is what a Democrat looks like. Tell me what America looks like. This is what America looks like. And then they have the Spanish AOC at the end of it with the Spanish upside down exclamation point. This is what an action figure looks like. And they have the whistleblower. It's like the lowest IQ child's play you could ever see. But okay, so that's a joke. But that's real, right? I mean, that's a real action figure. Seriously, can we just make sure I'm not fake news? That's not a parody, right? I mean, that is real. I can go buy an AOC action figure. The crew doesn't believe it either. We're all pinching ourselves right now. I might have to get one. And notice how all these communists sell their products for money, for profit. Isn't that ironic? Isn't that ironic? And I love how the doll has AOC in a $500 pantsuit with her $500 watch. Wait a second. Are they going to do they have a doll for every member of the squad? Wait, they have different dolls, AOC in different outfits, or you can change the outfit? This is insane. We may have to order, you know what? I don't even want to give them any money, though. Hey, that's hilarious. Hey, sell an AOC action figure. It's a good communist thing to do, to make money on that. That is just hilarious. But you notice how they have the whistles blowing? Like it's a whistleblower. Oh my gosh, the AOC action figure. That's a real thing. So we've now confirmed the AOC action figure is the real deal. Boy, I hope she doesn't lose her next election. That would be embarrassing, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be embarrassing? Because they're all pretty much putting her on the throne as the next leader of the Democrat Party. By the way, Bernie Sanders is going to have a campaign event. AOC is going to be there. So basically, this is Bernie, because Bernie's not actually running for president. He's running for his bank account to get bigger. This is going to be Bernie handing over the Templar to AOC as the new leader of the communist America. That's what's about to happen, and now they're building it up for the kids to buy that action figure so they think she's a hero.
Tell me what an activist looks like. This is what an activist looks like. Tell me what a role model looks like. This is what a role model looks like.
You got to give these action figure, zoom back in on the AOC face. They even got her horse mouth gummy smile on there. You got to give them credit. They got the whole AOC look down like a good commie. The $500 pantsuit, the $500 watch, the hoop earrings, the big loud red lipstick, and the gum horse mouth smile. I give them credit. Good job. But, here's the crime against the youth that's being propagandized into their indoctrination education system is that AOC, this diddling bimbo, is being hailed as some intellectual, philosophical giant, when really she is a speck of intellect, a speck of dust on the intellectual meter. She doesn't even register, really. So you couldn't even find her on there, not even a blip. But they build her up as this huge hero, and they inflate her, and so she gets more inflated and bigger, and it's all fake. It's all phony. And then the youth grows up thinking AOC's a hero. AOC, she's an intellectual giant, a philosophical giant. She's going to save the planet from climate change. All fake. She's an intellectual nothing. All right. Let me get to these important clips right now where Adam Schiff is engaged in total treason here. Now, look, I got a little upset yesterday. I was on air for 4 hours straight. But I just hope justice finds Adam Schiff. I'll just put it that way, whatever that means. First, let's go. Which one, actually, guys? Which one is Andy? You know what? I don't even know, because they're both. First, let's go to clip 18. This is Representative Andy Biggs. Now, this is the second day. Yesterday was Matt Gaetz. Schiff says he wants transparency, but he kicks Republicans out of these hearings. So it was Matt Gaetz yesterday. Today, it's Andy Biggs. In clip 18, here he is explaining how Adam Schiff is running cover right now for the Democrat treason.
My name's Andy Biggs, Arizona's 5th Congressional District. What's going on here is absolutely intolerable. You're talking about what Nancy Pelosi herself has said is the most somber thing that happens in the United States Congress outside of a declaration of war. And so, what happens is, she says we're going to have an impeachment inquiry. Well, when we have done this in the past, when you've had an impeachment inquiry, you've had a vote on the floor before you've had the investigation. It sets the rules and the terms of how that investigation is to be conducted. That's not what's happening here. In fact, the staffer just told us, if Nancy Pelosi says there's an impeachment inquiry, there's an impeachment inquiry. What that does is that takes this process out of the hands of the elected representatives of the American people. That's what's happening. You got to realize that. Because if you had a formal impeachment inquiry, you wouldn't be having a Soviet-style secret hearings where we have to go plead and say, can we come in? Because normally, every member of Congress can go into any committee hearing that's ongoing. And we can sit there and we can actually go up to somebody sitting on the stand and say, hey, how about this question? You might consider this. You can't do that here because we're not allowed in. So then you say, well, okay, we know Volker testified a week ago. There's a transcript of that. Can we see the transcript? No, you can't see the transcript. Why can't we see the transcript? They don't know why we can't see the transcript, only that we can't see the transcript. That is unacceptable. What that does is that causes a prejudice. So when you say, well, yeah, but this guy here, Mr. Schiff, he said he's going to release it. This is the same guy that read the parody where he just made up something and acted like that was...
Oh, by the way, Adam Schiff is now being investigated for that. They've officially launched an investigation into Schiff taking that phone call for ethics violations.
By delaying the release and preventing us from participating, he makes everything move at the speed and direction he wants it to move. It's entirely unfairly prejudicial. I don't expect anybody in this body to not have some kind of political or other bias. But the American people and I expect that unfair bias be done away with. And that's exactly why you have the rules of the House. Rules of the House are meant to protect the minority. You don't have to protect the majority. They've got the votes. They can do anything they want.
So there's Biggs just in a press conference there talking about how Shifty Schiff is running cover right now. But folks, you got to understand something else that's happening. And we're going to the other Biggs clip. The Democrats are saying, oh, Fiona Hill was our whistleblower. Folks, and they say second whistleblower. I think they're throwing her under the bus, and I think they're throwing this Ukrainian ambassador under the bus. I think it's really Bolton. I think it's really Brennan. I think it's really I don't know about Clapper at this point. I think he's kind of like hiding in a closet because he knows what's coming. But Brennan is just a bulldog of tyranny. But the whole Fiona Hill thing, I think they're just throwing her under the bus. They're all the whistleblower. They're just picking names out of a hat to try to create a story and act like they're not engaged in a total coup here and lying about it. But so Fiona Hill, if you even want to believe that, because remember, the original whistleblower complaint was third-hand information from a source, then the whistleblower who wasn't the real whistleblower. So even if Fiona Hill is the quote-unquote second whistleblower, if you believe that, she's the original whistleblower. So the second whistleblower is the original whistleblower. They just say second, third, fourth, fifth, even though it's the same person, which it's probably not even her. That's just the name they use to throw the whole thing under the bus. But let's go to Adam Schiff now Andy Biggs condemning little Adam Schiff on the floor of Congress.
Today, I will make the motion regarding House Resolution 630, a motion to condemn and censure Chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Adam Schiff. I'm going to let some of my colleagues explain further, but I want to explain to you what the rules are designed to do in the body that we serve in. They're designed to protect the voice and the rights of the minority. That's the way it is. The majority does not need the rules to protect its rights because it has the power to vote at any time what it wants to happen, but we follow rules so that all Americans can be represented even when they're represented by the minority party. That's not happening today. That's why we have to introduce this motion to censure. No more secret proceedings, no more Soviet-style proceedings. With that, I urge all to vote for my motion to censure.
Yeah, Adam Schiff is a fascist. Adam Schiff is a Nazi. But he's really just worse than that. But he's not the only Democrat that deserves to be censured. It'd be nice for him to get the first one, but it needs to be Pelosi. It needs to be... Feinstein's actually had her mouth shut. I think she knows what's coming, so she's just decided to kind of stand on the sidelines and hope it doesn't blow up on her. Maybe she'll get a reprieve. Yeah, but Schiff needs to be censured. Ilhan Omar for all her lies about her marriage. She needs to be censured. I mean, what about the AOC illegal campaign funding? That needs to be censured. But, you know, if you're a liberal progressive Democrat, you can get away with anything. It's just unbelievable the crimes they've engaged in, folks. I mean, we're all having our fingers crossed, hoping it's really going to come down on them. But it's tough to sit here and watch Adam Schiff engage in total treason, isn't it? It's tough to see the Democrats calling to take your guns. It's a little tough. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm bad. I'm so focused on the news that I don't even promote my own events. And somehow, thanks to the audience, they still managed to be a success. But the Tent City Tailgate is happening this Saturday. We're doing it at 4 o'clock, downtown Austin, Texas. Now, I don't have a location decided yet because here's what we're going to do. You got a UT football game in town, Big 12 rivalry with Kansas. And UT football's good this year, so there's going to be a big crowd. It may even be homecoming. I don't know. But the game kicks off at 6. So we're going to launch our Tent City kickoff, our Tent City cookout at 4 o'clock at an undisclosed location somewhere near downtown. Now, I'll announce the location at 3 o'clock, around 3 o'clock or 3:30 that day. But just know we're going to have a grill, we're going to have food, and we're going to be making political statements on our tent, too. So we'll have a bunch of political statements with flags and stuff on our tent. But we'll be sitting there tailgating with the rest of the UT football fans, cooking food, throwing a football around, talking shop. But we'll be there with our Trump is innocent signs, Google is evil signs. So it's going to be a big political statement. The Tent City cookout, the Tent City tailgate. So this is actually the Tent City tailgate. 4 o'clock, downtown Austin, somewhere in the vicinity of the University of Texas football stadium. So we're going to be in the crowd. And we're going to be making political statements, but we're going to be tailgating because it's football. This is the USA. So we barbecue and cook hot dogs and burgers and get ready for the football game. And you know what? We're going to make a political statement doing it. So if you can make it out, if you want to join us this Saturday, 4 o'clock is when I plan on getting the grill hot and ready. And we'll announce the exact location sometime around 3. But just know it's going to be somewhere in the vicinity of the UT football stadium. If you want to come out and enjoy a burger or a hot dog with us and make a political statement. And we'll fire up a live stream or something, too, for whatever channel we're still allowed on there. And you can come and, talk to us, too. All right, so that's going on. All right, we got some phone calls here. We're light on the phone calls today, but if anybody else wants to get in, we got a couple lines open. Otherwise, I'm probably just going to go to more of these videos and some of this news before Larry Johnson joins me. Let's go to Grant in Iowa. Go ahead, Grant.
Hey, Owen. I just wanted to echo, it was like a heavy heart listening to that interview with Amy. Tyranny comes in a lot of forms, and it's almost like you don't resist it until you've experienced some form of it.
And then it's too late.
It's kind of scary. Yeah, and then it's too late. And it's kind of scary watching everybody zombified. I mean, sports is fun, and it's cool to watch Netflix and catch up on all the shows and all that stuff, but it really just takes an effort.
Well, here's what I'm predicting, and I've said this before, and maybe I'll get back into this with Larry Johnson, but something's got to give here. Either China is going to end up censoring the sports world entirely, or it's going to go the opposite way, and not even necessarily conservatives, but just to put a label on it, conservatives in sports are going to start voicing their opinions. It's happening more and more. They just don't get much attention. And they go on Fox News mostly, so it kind of gets just mixed in with the rest of the mainstream media. But it is happening. But I think there's a breaking point coming. Either these sports leagues side with China, or athletes are going to start coming out and just speaking their mind as patriotic Americans. I think there's a breaking point coming there.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I was pleased. I actually did a radio hit this morning on a sports talk station to talk about the LeBron James China thing. And I mean, again, it's so rare because of all the bullying and everything, it's so rare for an athlete to speak their mind about politics, unless, of course, it's hate Trump. But I was just encouraged when you had the Stanley Cup champion Blues there, and the captain says, hey, you know what, President? We know what you're doing here in the White House is more important than sports. You never hear that from an athlete. So I just see a trend happening there. I'm sorry?
They definitely want their paycheck, too, and you can't really fault them for that. But when it comes to, drawing a moral line in the sand, they should be taking the high road and, speaking up for what they say that they believe in. I had one other quick thing I want to mention. You were talking about the AOC doll. My buddy sent me this Trumpy Bear thing. I don't know if you've seen that, but it was like a late night commercial. I wasn't sure if it was an
Oh, I've seen the Trumpy Bear. It's pretty funny.
It's a real thing, apparently. I thought it was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, I heard, I've heard Jim Acosta has a Trumpy Bear.
Yeah, I bet he does. I bet he snuggles with it every night when he goes to sleep, assuming he sleeps. One more thing, you were listing out some of the old Democratic crimes that we haven't had follow-up on, like the AOC money. And, I still haven't heard a follow-up on that heroin warehouse that Pelosi had holding in Presidio out there in Sacramento Bay area.
Yeah, it seems Nancy Pelosi's crimes just get swept under the rug. By the way, there's the image of Acosta with his Trumpy Bear. You can see he gets a little agitated when you try to take it from him.
Yeah, I bet he does.
No, man, we're kind of all on the same page right now. We know all these crimes. I mean, look, either Nancy Pelosi needs to be given an award or have like some story in Forbes magazine or something about how she's such a business genius to turn a $200,000 a year salary before taxes into $200 million. She needs to have articles written about how she's such a business genius, a financial genius, or she's such a criminal that we're not allowed to know.
Nope. She's either financial genius or total corrupt criminal. I think we know which one it is.
Yeah, I mean, maybe her pizza place, Goat Head Pizza, is worth $100 million somehow. Thanks for the call, Grant. Let's go to Brian in Canada. Go ahead, Brian. By the way, the Canadian athletes show more respect for the president than American athletes. That's pretty sad, but it's true. Go ahead.
Well, thank you for that, Owen. And just like you guys to know that many of us up here realize the importance of what Trump's doing with his wall there and where these people are off to once they get over your border. But I'd like to call out today your attention to a YouTube video, Chip Tatum, Ted Gunderson, of accusing A.G. Barr of wheeling coke into Mena, Arkansas with Bill Clinton.
Wait a second, hold on. Was that the Ted Gunderson video from decades ago in the 90s where he's exposing all this?
That's right.
Well, here's what this comes down to, because, and I'm not even necessarily taking a stance, I'm just calling it as I see it, but other insiders, have said, hey, look, A.G. Barr comes from the swamp, we need to beware. I'm just calling it as I see it, let's see the results. Sure, A.G. Barr comes from the swamp. Maybe he's flipped, maybe he's decided to go on the other side of history. His father was involved with Epstein, so we know all that stuff. I mean, the Gunderson testimony is bombshell stuff, so I'm on the fence with Barr. I want to wait and see the results.
Okay, thanks on that. And another theory out there on 9/11. Those planes were landed 10 minutes out of Boston there, and the passengers gassed. Some got away, some let go. And in fact, was a missile that hit the Pentagon, and it was just botched footage of these planes going into the towers, and maybe and I don't know, is Trump trying for best of both worlds here with he knows something. Trump.
Well, I think that Trump's definitely put an olive branch out there for these people to say, look, ride off into the sunset, take your stolen goods, take your stolen money, just get out of our way, and they won't do it for whatever reason. As far as 9/11 is concerned, I mean, how dare you say that was a conspiracy? I mean, I clearly saw the plane go into the Pentagon. I mean, the hole was only 5 feet wide, and planes are, 150 feet wide, but how dare you question that narrative?
Yeah. Well, that's I like that a theory of him getting his cake and eating it too, for sure. That's kind of one of the biggest questions in my mind, and one of the one of the other biggest questions, kind of theories on my mind that run across you is the whole they already know about the third, aliens and whatnot. So just like to hear your thoughts on that.
Did you say aliens? I'm sorry, you broke up.
Yeah, but with in conspiracy with the whole.
Hey! We don't do too much paranormal, but we did have a caller. What was that, Monday? Who said he was abducted by aliens? So hey, Welcome back to the Infowars.com War Room, brought to you by InfoWarsStore.com. We're taking your phone calls here for one more segment, and then I got to move on to some clips before my guest Larry Johnson joins me. Remember, folks, everything must go at InfoWarsStore.com. That means big discounts for you on the supplements, on the T-shirts, on the emergency food supplies, on the air filters, on the water filters. We read the study earlier. Breathing polluted air could age the memory by 10 years. And that comes from studies done on pollution in major metropolitan areas. Well, they've also done studies that say the average U.S. home is as polluted as a major metropolitan area. So we sell the Alexa Pure Breeze at InfoWarsStore.com to make sure you don't live in a house with polluted air, to make sure that you are breathing in clean, purified air, not that toxic stuff that is all over the environment. And then they'll say, so the left will say, global warming, pollution, all this stuff. And then we're saying, okay, yeah, the air's polluted. Here's an air filter. But don't go to InfoWarsStore.com and get their air filter. No. Breathe the polluted air. We've got a limited number of the Alexa Pure Breeze air filters left. I'd love to see these sold out by the end of the week. Folks, it's 40% off plus free shipping. I mean, you're saving about $150 or more on the Alexa Pure Breeze right now. Why would you not have an air filter in your home? See the studies for yourself. And then go to InfoWarsStore.com. Read the reviews on the Alexa Pure Breeze air filter. But it's free shipping, so we'll cover the shipping costs, and it's 40% off. You cannot get a better air filter for the price, ladies and gentlemen. Very easy to set up and get into action. And then it pretty much runs itself. It has an auto sensor. It's incredible. InfoWarsStore.com. All right, let's go back to the phone lines now. We'll take calls for the rest of this segment, and then we're just going to drop callers. So if you don't get in, don't bother holding. I don't want you to waste your time. Let's go to Elijah in Virginia. Go ahead, Elijah.
Hey, what's up, Owen? How you doing, man?
Good. Thanks for calling.
No problem, man. Just wanted to talk about the craziness that's been going on lately, politically, spiritually, but really it all ties in spiritually, because that's where it all started from. But just the Pete Buttigieg, all the foolish Democrats, I don't take them serious.
Wait, hold on. Did you say Pete Buttigieg?
Yeah, Pete Buttigieg.
Pete Buttigieg. What's a better one, Pete Buttigieg or Booty Judge? What does the crew win? All right, raise your hand. Let's get a crew poll real quick. All right, raise your hand if you prefer Pete Buttigieg. One member of the crew. 2, 3.
I think Alice called him Pete Butt Plug, something like that.
Butt plug. They'll try to say. I like the Booty Judge, Pete Booty Judge.
They're probably gonna call us homophobic.
Booty Judge. All right, go ahead.
Nah, man, but yeah, that guy is weird. It's crazy. I'm not surprised though, because if you read the Bible, it explains it all, really, and all throughout the Bible. But yeah, man, it's like they lie like we just so dumb now. Like they're just like we just supposed to roll over and take it. But
isn't it amazing? I mean, seriously, isn't it amazing? You could listen to that whole Democrat 3-hour debate and maybe get like 2 minutes of truth. I mean, seriously, like, wow.
It's sad though. Now that I think about it, it is some people who are mind controlled enough to sit through that and think, wow, I'm doing something good. You know what I mean?
But imagine being Beto O'Rourke and being such a fraud. I mean, he knows he's not going to win. He's literally the only reason he's calling for all this gun confiscation. He knows his political career is dead. He's literally doing that just to get campaign donations for the gun grabbers. That's all it is.
Did you see that burger he made, man?
What did he do? Oh, the burger?
Yeah.
Look, I wouldn't hang out. You'd have to pay me a lot of money to hang out with Beto O'Rourke, okay?
That was scary, man. I was like, I need to be translated, man. But one thing I just wanted to bring up real quick, because we see a lot of craziness going on in these last days, and we are not to get discouraged, because that's what the enemy wants us to do. God does not want us to get discouraged or fear anything. All this foolishness is going to happen, but Christ is coming soon to restore this earth back to the way it originally was.
Yeah, and you know, you're right, and I tend to get bogged down. Like yesterday, after 4 hours on air, I just kind of lose patience, and I just start drowning in information.
Especially when they're going after the children. That kills me.
No, it's really sick. These people are really sick, and who knows if we'll ever know the truth about their motives with all of this, but it's really sick to watch these Democrat debates. But they've exposed themselves, so that's the good news. All right, let's go to Patrick, first-time caller in Ohio. Go ahead, Patrick.
Sure. It is an honor to speak to you. I have been wanting to talk to you, all of you people there, for so long. My old girlfriend turned me on to Alex about 7.5 years ago, and I just had to see how far down the rabbit hole it went, you know? And let me tell you, I've got a whole drawer full of your T-shirts, and I wear them babies every time I go out. I've got my MAGA hat. I've got a Trump 2020 hat, and I live in a small town in southeastern Ohio, Zanesville, Ohio, and I don't have any trouble with people. People are nice. I'm telling you, the little towns, it's not like these crazy idiots in these big towns. It's not like that. People have respect still in some of these towns.
And it's mostly the Midwest, quite frankly. It's mostly just the Midwest culture, you know, that they don't want to beat you over the head for wearing a Trump hat or take your hat and burn it. The Bible Belt, flyover country, whatever you want to call it. It just hasn't gone fully into Satanism like the coastal cities have with all the big media out there.
Well, yes, sir. And I'll tell you, a lot of it, too, is my parents raised me to be respectful of other people no matter what. So this... I've lived my life. I'm 68. I've never seen such craziness in my life. I don't know how you put up with it. I feel bad. I mean, I get PO'd when I see you guys getting attacked like you do, especially your ladies. They're such wonderful people, and it hurts me, you know? So I listen to a lot of music to calm down, you know what I mean? So, but I have a little phrase I come up with. Even though I walk through the valley, the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for I am carrying. You know what I mean? Hello?
Yeah, I'm just listening to you. Go on.
Yeah. I got my CCW a year ago and took a lot of training and stuff, and I'll tell you something. I don't want any trouble, but, hey, an old man like me, I'm not going to let somebody just beat the tar out of me, okay?
Well, and Beto O'Rourke says he's going to come confiscate the guns. They say, well, how are you going to...
My wallpaper I'm looking at right now is my Beto Not T-shirt on with my AR in my lap. And
pull up the Beto Not T-shirt, guys. No, but seriously, Patrick, they asked Beto, it's a serious question. How are you going to confiscate the guns? He says, law-abiding citizens will turn them in. Let me just break down this logic for you.
Yeah.
So Beto O'Rourke and the Democrats who support this notion, this is their logic. Okay, we're going to break the law and confiscate your guns. That's illegal. That is in response to people who are breaking the law and murdering people. And then he says, I expect people to obey the law and turn the guns in. So people break the law and kill people. Democrats break the law and take your guns. And then Beto says, I'll expect people to obey the law and turn their guns in, which, of course, is not going to happen. But this is the delusion land they live in. Thanks for the call, Patrick. I got to jump. Let's get one more caller. Damon in North Carolina. Go ahead.
What's up, man?
What's up?
Hey, man, I love all your stuff. I love Band.video, too. But, hey, I just wanted to tell you, like, back in the early 90s, I remember 2 Live Crew got banned. It just reminds me, you know, it's a weird comparison, but my dad, he took my tape, threw it away. Within a couple weeks, I had a new one. You know what I mean? When you ban somebody, it kind of just helps them.
Defiance, our most awakened inclination.
Yeah, and I don't know the court proceedings that they had back then, but maybe you guys should look at that a little bit.
Which court proceedings again? What did you say?
The Two Live Crew. The band, remember, they got banned back in the early 90s. And it's just for free speech, basically.
Was that the one where was that the one, what was that video?
Yeah, I mean, they had a bunch of songs and stuff. It was dirty rap music, but still.
No, didn't they put out a song that was like pro-America that got banned?
Yeah, they put out Banned in the USA, an actual song.
That's what it was, Banned in the USA.
And
that
my
was in the
dad
90s, right? That was in the 90s?
Yeah, my dad threw away the tape, but you know what? In a couple weeks, I went and found another one. And then another
Banned
one,
in the
and
USA.
one.
That was the track. And it literally got banned in the USA. Like South Park puts the episode Banned in China, then they get banned in China. All right, let me get to some of these clips before we're joined by Larry Johnson. First, let's go. Last night, Bernie Sanders, the good commie, wants to tax billionaires out of existence.
The top 1% now own more of this nation's wealth than the bottom 90% combined. Senator Sanders, when you introduced your wealth tax, which would tax the assets of the wealthiest Americans, you said, quoting you, Senator, billionaires should not exist. Is the goal of your plan to tax billionaires out of existence?
When you have 500,000 Americans sleeping out on the street today, when you have 87 million people uninsured or underinsured, when you got hundreds of thousands of kids who cannot afford to go to college and millions struggling with the oppressive burden.
Now, pause it right here, because let me explain something. This is Bernie Sanders engaging in intellectual fraud, making an equivalence here that because billionaires exist, that's why people are homeless. So blaming billionaires for people being homeless or starving or poor when billionaires pay people's salaries. I'm not saying billionaires aren't greedy or there's bad billionaires out there. I mean, Amazon is tax-free, Bernie. Call out Bill Gates. No, they won't do that. They're good liberals. So this whole thing, this is all a false paradigm. They won't go after the real billionaires because they're all liberals. They don't pay taxes. So this is all a fraud. And then Bernie makes the false equivalency, tugging at your heartstrings. Oh, there's homeless. Oh, there's poor people. Oh, there's hungry people. Oh, there's people in debt, as if that's billionaires' fault. All right, go on.
Also have 3 people owning more wealth than the bottom half of American society. That is a moral and economic outrage.
He won't name them because they're all liberals.
And the truth is, we cannot afford
they're all Democrats
to continue this level of income and wealth inequality, and we cannot afford a billionaire class whose greed and corruption has been at war with the working families of this country for 45 years. So if you're asking me, do I think we should demand that the wealthy start paying, the wealthiest, top 1/10 of 1%, start paying their fair share of taxes so we can create a nation and a government that works for all of us? Yes, that's exactly what I believe.
But again, that's all false. The rich already pay the most taxes, and it's not a billionaire's fault that somebody is poor on the street. It's probably a Democrat policy, quite frankly. And again, he says the 3 richest people, won't name names, they're all liberals. Now let's go to 14. I mean, folks, Joe Biden, this is really embarrassing. If anybody can make sense of this Joe Biden clip, you might speak a foreign language. Let's go to it.
Why in God's name should someone who's clipping coupons in the stock market in fact, pay a lower tax rate than someone who, in fact, is, like I said, a school teacher and a firefighter? It's ridiculous. And
but you know what? That's not even the full clip. The full clip is even worse, guys. Actually, let's play clip 6 because it's the whole thing. Play clip 6.
No, look, demonizing wealth people. What I talked about is how you get things done. And the way to get things done is take a look at the tax code right now. The idea we have to start rewarding work, not just wealth. I would eliminate the capital gains tax. I would raise the capital gains tax to the highest rate of 39.5%. I would double it. Because guess what? Why in God's name should someone who's clipping coupons in the stock market in fact, pay a lower tax rate than someone who, in fact, is, like I said, a school teacher and a firefighter? It's ridiculous, and they pay a lower tax. Secondly, the idea that we, in fact, engage in this notion.
All right. So Biden says let's cut the tax by doubling it. Okay. Now let's go. Final clip here. Let's go to CNN, who admits they want Warren to win in the leaked documents, cutting off Tulsi Gabbard when she asked Elizabeth Warren something before a break. Here we go.
Sorry,
what her
Congresswoman, I'm
experience
sorry.
and background is.
I'm sorry, thank you. We're going to take another break now. The CNN New York Times debate live from Otterbein University
And
here
then
in Ohio.
Tulsi Gabbard
We'll be
shakes
back.
her head because she knows she just got censored by CNN, who's protecting Elizabeth Warren. All right. You know, I was going to go right to this clip of LeBron James here before we're joined by Larry Johnson, but I just got to say something first before we get into this. I mean, let's reflect on something real quick. The Democrats have pretty much already pulled out all the stops, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, they're lying during congressional testimony about a transcript, making it up. They literally bring forward fake rape allegations to keep Trump out of office, then to keep Brett Kavanaugh off the court. They lie about hate crimes, not just Jussie Smollett, but a bunch of them, and then to use that to blame on Trump. Now they're pro-war in Syria because they hate Trump so much. They put out fake footage saying, look at what Trump has done to the Kurds. They just got bombed into oblivion. Fake footage. I mean, seriously, the Democrats have already gone like full bore here. And, I said yesterday we haven't really gotten to a hot war, but, let's not forget, actually, the Democrats have shot up members of Congress like Steve Scalise. They shot up a baseball field. One individual got shot outside of a bar wearing a Trump hat. So, I mean, we tend to get numb to it. The Democrats have already engaged in a full-on hot civil war. So it's almost like, I don't even know how you properly respond to it. I mean, is it a take the biblical approach and turn the other cheek and let them continue to expose themselves for how evil they are? Or at what point do we start taking action? But I just had to say that before we move on with Larry Johnson. It's just incredible. I mean, the Democrats have literally pulled out everything. I mean, wow. Sorry, it all hit me again. But let me do this before we bring on Larry Johnson. Let me play this LeBron clip, and Larry's been calling out all this hypocrisy and does a great job finding biblical verses to relate to it. But here's LeBron James, no, not kowtowing to the oppression of the Chinese Communist Party, but this is LeBron James on his own HBO show that surely he wants broadcast in China, talking about how brave he is as a man and how he's always going to stand up to injustice because he's the king, LeBron James.
I was raised off, Snoop and Pac and Jay and Biggie, and now I get an opportunity to be the inspiration around what all these kids are looking up to, and for me to just sit back and not say shit when a lot of my peers didn't say shit, it didn't feel right.
I liken you to Ali. Like, Ali was, at the time, the greatest.
Right.
But when he spoke out, he went to jail, man. Like, even his greatness couldn't insulate him from those rules that they had set up. And did you think to yourself, like, as good as I am, it's not going to matter?
Yeah, because it's not, at the end of the day, when I decided I was going to start speaking up and not giving a about the backlash or if it affects me, my whole mindset was it's not about me. I think Ali already knew. He knew that it wasn't about him. I'm going to get the backlash. I'm going to go to jail. Yeah. But what this is going to do for the next group, what this is going to do for the next athlete, what this is going to do for the next minority who wants to speak up whenever that happens, Ali's whole mindset was like, at some point, somebody is going to take what I did, my truth, to so many different kids and so many different people was broader than me personally. So that's why I started thinking. And I was like, okay, if I can get 25,000 people to show up to a basketball game, I can reach so many more platforms.
In China? And make so much more money in China? Wow. So LeBron James lets LeBron James down and doesn't stand up to the injustice in China. What a brave man. I mean, how do you even measure the fraud of a LeBron James right now? I mean, it's just prima facie. Larry Johnson joins me now, former All-Pro running back. Larry, how do you even measure the fraud of a LeBron James right now?
I mean, I don't know if you can measure it with a measuring stick, but it's out there. And you have to think about the impact. He has to know the impact of people were going to research his words, research what he posted, research what he tweeted. I think when they get caught up in themselves and get caught up in the moment, always trying to practice their self-righteousness in front of everybody else, they forget what they say. They forget that when things get to a point where you have to draw the line in the sand, they are going to draw the line where the dollar signs are. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing athletes not be athletes or be role models. You see them be greedy capitalists. They're basically being everything we were taught not to like.
And, you know, there's another moment in that clip that doesn't get much attention, but I want to raise attention to it now because I think it is actually very telling. Now, LeBron James, if you follow his upbringing, he was raised by his mother. It's well known. And I'm pretty sure his father wasn't even really around at all during his childhood. And so what did he say in that clip? He says he was raised by Snoop Dogg, Tupac, and Biggie. Now, what does that actually say? What does that actually mean? Well, maybe it means something different than him, but the story is that that's just not LeBron James. That's an entire generation of people. They don't have a father in their home. They're raised by rap stars. Jay-Z controlled by the Illuminati. Snoop Dogg probably under the same corporate control. These are the people raising LeBron James. These are people raising children that are in fatherless homes. I mean, to me, that is extremely telling.
It is very toxic, especially with this generation he comes from where they listen to rap stars. Like the guy that got killed, Extension or whatever his name was. Children were crying that they were saying, like, this guy brought me here. He got me through these tough times. And like, that's sad. If you can't find a grown man that you played basketball with, or a coach, or a father figure, if you can't find that type of guy that you have to revert to toxic rappers who aren't men themselves, but just living off of the riches and the fame of the world, then that's sad for this generation and the generation to come after it.
Well, and I mean, people can be inspired by music, but you look at the lyrics in a Snoop Dogg, Tupac, Biggie, Jay-Z song. I mean, it's pretty well known the type of culture that they promote. I mean, shooting a cop, pimping hoes, beating a bitch down. I mean, this is what they rap about, but they'll speak out against all of that in society. But they claim, oh, this is what raised me. These are my heroes. There's no consistency here.
It's hypocrisy. And it's just as funny when you all of us see Jay-Z donate money to a cause that himself never really related to. He grew up selling drugs to his own community, his own black community. Now, you think this man changed all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, he just got a heart? No, these type of men don't change. They get more money, they get more greedy, and they want to pass off this ego or this facade that they're all about the black community all of a sudden. It doesn't work that way. And if you are being paid to literally slander black fathers, paid to slander black women, paid to slander the upbringing of mostly a minority version of the black male, you're not going to save anybody. You're not in to save anybody. You're in it to make money. And so you appease to whatever side is going to pay you more to promote their message. And that's what they are. They're puppets. They're being promoted and paid for to promote an idea so they can get paid off of it. So all of us like fools can look up to them and say, oh, they really made it. They really made it into this world that we should respect them. And it doesn't work that way.
Right, and then the youth says, oh, if I want to make it, I have to be a rapper or a basketball player. That's the only option for me. Hey, those are great options. You can make a lot of money, but, you can study hard. You can be a scientist. You can be a doctor. There's all kinds of things. But, there's another kind of elephant in the room here, too. Jay-Z is married to Beyonce. It came out, I think, over a year ago how Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce, maybe a lot of times, maybe once. But the point is, it's like, oh, okay, it's no big deal. He cheated on me. But, I mean, even Beyonce, on the flip side of this, is considered a strong woman, right? She's a strong advocate for women everywhere. Well, what strong woman lets their man rap about pimping and beating hoes and cheat on her? I mean, how is that a strong woman?
Like I said, it's all for show. It's to humiliate is to humiliate the background and the family structure of black males and black women, and it's there to humiliate it. And we of course say, like, oh, she could have just left him. She should have left him. But it's what we pay for. We as a culture love drama. We don't want to see them break up. We want to see more of the drama. So we are going to.
And I think you've nailed it right there. We're about to go to break. I think you nailed it right there. It's not about love. It's about money. It was never about love with Jay-Z and Beyonce. It was about money. And I'm not trying to throw Kanye West under the bus, but, I mean, how are him and Kimye doing right now? What was that marriage all about? We'll be right back. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you have seen what the fake news does. They air fake doctored footage and claim it's a bombing in Syria thanks to Donald Trump. Totally fake. They give Jussie Smollett, the fake hate crime hoaxer, airtime. They lie about the Covington Catholic boys. They lie about Brett Kavanaugh. They lie about Trump. This is what the fake news does. They lie about us to try to have us shut down. And so we're still here. We're still fighting every day, thanks to your support at InfoWarsStore.com. So I want to encourage you to take advantage of these deep discounts at InfoWarsStore.com, the Everything Must Go emergency sale. We want to have a full engine as we launch into the 2020 election cycle, and we're here. 2020's come early, folks. So take advantage of free shipping store-wide and up to 70% off some of the supplements and products at InfoWarsStore.com. And I have to say, Larry Johnson hosted the 4th hour of the Alex Jones Show last week. I thought Larry did a great job. So this is just some of the stuff we do at InfoWars. We look for new great hosts that have their own angles, their own stories, their own followers, just to expand the truth and reality movement and the movement for God. I mean, people who just aren't afraid to speak out about God either, and to say, hey, look, you're destroying God's creation here. You're an abomination. And so Larry Johnson does a great job as that as well. And so folks, continue to support us at InfoWarsStore.com so we can continue to be on air and give airtime to people like Based Amy. She said it herself. No one else gives her airtime. So that's why we're here. So Larry Johnson with me. Larry, I wanted to get your take on a story just to kind of pivot away from just the dire politics right now. And I actually don't even know who this is. You might know who this is. It's AB89 on Twitter, former Buccaneers receiver, or at least that's what the account is. But I'm not even sure who this is, but I'm assuming it's former NFL receiver here. Comments this: Cardell Jones is now in the XFL. That's a new league from an old league that's competing with the NFL. Cardell Jones, former Ohio State national champion. He would have been a top 10 pick in the 2015 NFL draft, but instead he went back to Ohio State and then fell to the 4th round. D1 athletes, don't let college coaches lie to you about the importance of a college degree. If you get a first-round grade, leave. Larry, you're a former college athlete, Penn State, drafted in the NFL, had a great career with the Chiefs. What is your take on what I think is the NCAA having a monopoly on college athletes, whether it be college basketball or college football? And in college basketball, they literally say you have to go play for the NCAA 1 year before you can be in the NBA. But what do you think about this take? And what do you think about the notion that the NCAA has a monopoly on college athletes?
I think right now, as far as the NCAA, they're really trying to pigeonhole some of these athletes. Because now you see in California where they have we can market you if you're a big time player. We can market you and put you on a contract. I think NCAA hates that because it takes the power away from them. So they are trying to make up rules to counteract what California is doing. And I think as far as that move that he made, I don't know. Like, if he wanted to think that he could get a job after football, or he was interested in something after football, that's why he went back. It makes sense. But if he knew that going into the league, if he was a first round guy and not being able to play, 1 or 2, 3 years, he doesn't have a degree. And yeah, he can always go back, but who knows where your life is going to head right after that? If you're looking for a job, looking for a career, it's very tough to do. It's tough to be an athlete and going into the workplace. It's just different. I would say, if he's first round grade, take that money, then you can go back with the money you have, and you can just kind of build onto that into your career. But everybody has a different path. I mean, it's not always the NFL. It's not always a 9 to 5, but everybody has a different path.
Now, kind of going down this road again, I don't know if you know who AB9 is. Again, I don't know his
we
name.
follow each other.
Okay. Who is it? What is this former receiver?
I think, yeah, former receiver out of the Buccaneers.
Was it? Is it Antonio Bryant?
No. No,
I didn't think so. All right. Well, anyway, we were talking it may have been even a month ago. I don't know. Time flies. And I said I expect to see more, not necessarily conservative, but athletes speaking their opinion that kind of goes against the New World Order, the Illuminati. I think this is an example. I think you're an example. You have more professional athletes going on Fox News now, too, not hating Trump. And now with the NBA bowing to China, that really creates a vacuum there for an NBA star to stand up for America and for freedom, really, against oppression. I don't expect that to happen. But what do you think about this trend now a month later after I mentioned to you before, athletes not being afraid to speak their mind, not being afraid to say, hey, you know what, maybe Trump's not that bad. Hey, you know what, America is a great place. We should be grateful to be playing professional sports here. Do you see that trend happening, or do you think China or just liberal censorship or whatever, do you think that's going to continue to bully athletes from speaking their mind?
I think athletes, especially football players, have gotten smarter over the years. Guys have been protecting their money, had careers, and after a while, most guys have gone in the offseason to get their MBAs. I know a couple of guys in Miami, they would be in the offseason getting their MBAs at, University of Miami. Guys are getting smarter. Guys are waking up to the program. They're not letting getting their paychecks and then spending it all. And then once their career is over, they're broke. I think guys are really seeing what this world is like, and they're seeing under the veil of how most NFL officials and most NFL owners treat them when their career is over. So I think it's good that those guys are waking up. And I think you're going to see more football players stand up and speak and not be afraid because they can't be bought. We already went through this whole struggle of trying to get contract after contract. But I think basketball players on the whole they're spoiled. They have enough money to live the rest of their life, and they still want more money. They want to be actors. They want to be musicians. There's just a different culture for NBA players, and I think they use that culture to spoil them into going against their own values of the American people.
That is an interesting thing. People don't really realize how different the NBA culture is. It's the highest average contract, I think, by far of any league. Now, that's due to a small roster, but still, the worst player on the team is making millions of dollars. I don't think you can say that about any other league. And so I think, perhaps, Larry, that's why it's a lot easier for the NBA to censor its athletes, considering their shoes, their jerseys, everything is made in China. And the more I think about it, too, where do you think more pressure is coming from here right now on the top NBA players? Is it from Nike or is it from the NBA? Are they directly getting orders from the Chinese government? Where do you think most pressure is coming?
I think most pressure is we're a consumer country. So I know it's coming from whoever these guys got shoes deals, clothing deals, merchandise deals. It's all coming from whoever's the brand ambassador for the NBA right now. It could be Nike or Adidas, but those guys are still going for the top guys like Phil Nike, and it all filters up. It goes even behind that. I always said in Freemasons, they're always the greediest of the greedy secret society. So they want to spend things, and they want to make a globalist economy so everybody gets, chips in it. We get poorer, they get richer. So, of course, it's coming from them. It's coming from those who can control the money supply. So, of course, they don't get the players to go all in on it. And you've seen what Steve Kerr did. They all act like this is new to them. Like human rights is just an American issue. It's a world issue.
Well, and that's the whole thing, too, with this market where they don't actually care about the sports fans. They just want to find a market for China or find a market for the LGBTQ folks, too. So they put dresses on and everything and high heels, and they say, look, I'm a man. Folks, I've received an exclusive photo right now. LeBron James is getting ready to start the NBA season. We've got an exclusive photo of LeBron James getting ready right now for the NBA season to begin. Guys, let's go ahead and pull this up. This is how LeBron James prepares for the NBA season right here, folks. So as you can see, LeBron is ready to go, and he's just stretching and getting loose for the 2019 NBA season to fire up. So there's LeBron James stretching, getting ready for the brand new NBA season. Welcome back to the Infowars.com War Room. Larry Johnson is my guest for one more segment. Larry, I'm sure that you're aware that it is International Pronouns Day, if you can even fathom that that's a real thing. It's International Pronouns Day. So Larry, we're going to give you the opportunity here to come out of your shell and to let the audience know what are your pronouns, Larry?
I don't know what that is. Like today I still don't know what that means. When people
Larry, it means whatever you want it to mean.
In the singular.
What? Hey, I'll tell you what. Here, let me lead the way. It is confusing, and that's the purpose, is to confuse the youth. But my pronouns are it's actually one. It's just Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, TMNT for short. So when people address me, I prefer to be addressed as Sir Turtle, or Mutant Turtle is fine too. So those are my pronouns. So, but Larry, you can choose whatever you want. If you want to be a dolphin, if you want to be a Martian, you just make it up, really. But there's a list if you want to go from the list.
No, I'll rather just stick with the follower of God. How about that one? That's the only one I need to know.
Okay, that works. I'm not sure that's on the guide, though, here. Is that one on the guide?
No, definitely not. You know it's not.
Oh, yeah, because that's right. God only made 2 genders. But look at this. What is this, a hate guide? The hate humanity guide here. Pronouns, how-to guide. Seriously, though, this is going to confuse all language. They'll have to rewrite textbooks. They'll have to, in fact, languages like Spanish and Italian that are based on gender are going to have to be totally eradicated even. So then they'll just say you have to be speak Chinese or something. But just none of these pronouns even exist. It's all made up. I'm literally going off this guide, Larry. It's fair, fairs, fair self, A-M-A. I mean, what? Pers, per self, V, ver, vise, ver self, G, gem, gers, gem self, G, jai, here's, here self. So, the list continues to expand. Soon it'll include dolphin people and everything. But happy International Pronouns Day, Larry. Happy International Pronouns Day.
How are they going to get people to learn this? These kids only play Fortnite. How are these kids going to be smart enough to even remember these pronouns?
That's true. And then they'll go to school and they'll fail their pronoun test and they'll be considered bigots. And they'll have to go to a re-education.
Well, that's how slavery works.
Of course, LeBron James literally going out of the Chinese Communist playbook saying Daryl Morey needs to be re-educated. So that's pretty ironic. Here's an interesting one. I don't think that's Kylie Jenner. Kind of looks like her. I don't know who it is. But a new Avon magazine ad has the lady embracing the Baphomet statue and saying, "Express yourself, live out loud." So they're just bringing the old Satanism right to the front door here, Larry.
It's a thing where they're not even holding back. They know what people know it is. It's like you can't control. It's like there's only 30,000 of us that woke up. That can't compete with the 50 million people who's buying these products and keeping them rich. And it's like it's a repeated pattern. I don't see how people don't see this. It's very difficult and frustrating when you show people this and they think, it's just for art. It's just culture. It's just what's in right now. I don't get it.
Well, and you talked about how the professional leagues are trying to I kind of think there's a double-edged sword here. They want to get into this market, like they want to market to gay people, like the NFL putting a male gay cheerleader up there, or talking about, we're okay, you can be gay in the NFL, or, NBA players dressing up like women, or Odell Beckham dressing up in some weird deal. They have commercials with Russell Wilson dressing up like a princess. I mean, so this agenda is infiltrating professional sports leagues.
It's just one thing of humiliation on top of humiliation. They know they can get these guys to do it because these guys want money, and these guys are starting to sign these weird Freemason contracts, and they'll be rich as long as they emasculate themselves in front of a public view. There was a term of that in slavery called buck breaking, where they used to take the strongest male slave and humiliate him in front of his family, especially his sons. And they used to sodomize him too. So it's really funny to me. All of a sudden, these guys worship a hermaphrodite God. And on top of that, want to subject themselves in front of their family members, and some of them who are old enough to be around before social media, to sit there and emasculate your tradition of who you are and where your name comes from. And it's very disgusting. It's very weak that our society as men has stooped this low.
And that's exactly it. You take the strongest man and emasculate him, and then you can just make an example out of him for the other men. And so I look at a Cam Newton, who wears, again, like all the weird stuff now, acts like it's fashionable to dress up like a lady or something. But, you know, I think it's going to be interesting because the Panthers, I think, have lost like their last 5 games with Cam Newton starting. The new quarterback rookie is, I believe, undefeated and hasn't thrown an interception. But you know they've got to throw Cam Newton right back under center so that he can be in the post-game press conference, you know, wearing a dress or something afterwards.
And that's where it's headed. And it's very disgusting, and no one's speaking out about it. And they think like, oh, it's just fashionable for men to look like this now. If you look at the GQ magazine cover, it had Pharrell. Basically, you say it's a coat, but he's in a dress, standing very effeminate. And that's what the culture they're trying to push day in and day out. They want men, especially black men, to wear a dress to make them look female, very effeminate in front of everybody. So this could be the next movement of welcoming gays to buy season tickets, because they know season tickets are down. No one's going to the games. If you see the officiating, everybody's complaining about officiating right now. But if you can market to the LGBTQ community, they don't care about the rules of the game. As long as they can parade a good product in front of them, they'll take up those seats.
Well, and they do this whole thing, too, where they say, oh, masculinity is just a concept. It doesn't really exist. But then they try to redefine masculinity into femininity. And it's a total switch. It's literally Satan engages in deception. And so right now, you turn men into women, you call it masculinity. You turn women into men, you call it femininity. A total reversal of reality.
And at the end of the day, this is all just to go at fathers. This is a way to get fathers to drop their guards and allow this behavior. So when it comes in, when the state comes in or whoever comes in to take over the kids from the left side of this garbage presidency candidate side, they're going to want to teach the children to be this way, that it's okay to dress as a woman when you're a boy, and it's okay to be dressed like a man when you're a girl. That is the whole synopsis of this whole presidency on the left, is to get children in a vulnerable state, for them to be molested, for them to be sexually abused and sexually pandered to. This is all that it's about, and they're doing it through the sports.
And by the way, folks, literally Pete Buttigieg, and there was someone else that agreed, said they want to have LGBTQ mentors for 5-year-olds. And then they say, too, top psychologists say, oh, no. If you want to have a sex change at the age of 5, your parents, they don't need to know about that. They bring out a 9-year-old transgender. It's all cultism. And like you said, Larry, it's all targeting the kids. And people will hear you say that and say, oh, that's crazy. No, they're literally doing it right now. So 30 seconds left, Larry. What else do you want to depart us with here?
I would say, guys, it's going to be a war. And look at, just watch your way. I know you said earlier that, oh, should we just attack the left? Like, no. What they're doing is going to eat themselves up. They already had transgendered and lesbians fighting with each other because they're not accepting the transgendered male to female. Watch, they're all going to blow up. Their kingdom as soon is going to fall, and it's going to be because of them.
All right, hopefully from Larry Johnson's mouth into reality, but it's already happening. Larry, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us today. I got to say, watching these Democrats and Republicans alike pushing for war in Syria really makes me sick. And then when you see them lying and airing doctored footage, lying about it on television, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? But think about the lie that Lindsey Graham and others are putting on the American citizens, that if we don't stay in Syria, that is a threat to our national security. I mean, that is offensive to anybody with an IQ above 10. I mean, what a joke. And for the Democrats to be sitting here saying, oh, we have to be in Syria for our national security, while they don't even want to protect the border, what a joke. So it's really them offhand admitting Islamic terrorists want to come here and kill us, but they'll never say that. But even last night, and I need to get to this news before I sign off, but it was incredible last night hearing Biden and Warren and others talk about if we get out of Syria, how the Islamic State is going to kill us. And Biden literally said they're going to come into America. But wait a second. So wait. Okay. We're told that on 9/11, radical Islamic terrorists who hate our way of life and want to murder us took down the Twin Towers and other terrorist attacks, the biggest terror attack on U.S. soil. We were told we went into the Middle East because of this, and now we're in the Middle East fighting them because of this. But wait. Then we're told we don't need to protect our southern border and don't say anything bad about Islam, otherwise you're considered Islamophobic. But then they say, oh, but we have to stay at war overseas because those bad Muslims are coming to get you. And if we don't stay at war over here, it's a national security threat. No logic, no linear thinking, nothing. Total propaganda, total warmongering. Makes you sick. I'm sorry, it really makes you sick. I got to move on. Elizabeth Warren scrubs DNA test video result from Twitter. So she really thinks she's the presidential frontrunner now. She doesn't want that getting brought back up, her lies about being a Native American. How about the irony from one of the biggest dumb you-know-whats you've ever seen in your life? Eric Swalwell says he stands for free Hong Kong. The same guy that wants to take your firearms or nuke you says free Hong Kong. What a jackass. Seriously, this is the biggest thumb-sucking jackass I've ever seen in my life. James O'Keefe waiting for a response from CNN. We're going to air some Project Veritas stuff here in a second. They're going after Trump for his tax returns, ladies and gentlemen, and they're literally investigating every single tax return he's ever had. And if they try to bring him down with this, it's only going to backfire on the Nancy Pelosi's and others of the world, guaranteed. Right out of Elizabeth Warren's home, lawmakers consider balloon ban in Massachusetts. And so now if you sell or have any balloons, you could be fined for it. So that's nice. Off-duty New York Police Department officer kills himself in Queens home. And I think this is, the 9th police officer in New York to take his own life this year, but nobody will talk about that. Some international news I got to pile drive through. Trump claims Turkish incursion into Syria has nothing to do with us, and Kurds are not angels. Well, he's just right, and he wants to end the wars. But notice the same people that said that before will say, oh, Trump bad. Russian forces sweep into U.S. base abandoned in Syria, just like we told you they would, just like it should happen. They've already reached these deals, folks. Pope Francis, obese are victims of improper dietary habits. And so soon he's going to say, quit eating meat. That's coming next. Polish lawmakers vote for bill criminalizing promoting underage sex. And that's, of course, the LGBTQIAPF teaching that they do to the kids. And you read that, you're like, well, of course. But no, they're literally doing that in America, saying, no, this is progressive. This is good. Defiant message as North Korea's Kim Jong-un rides a white horse on a sacred mountain. I don't know what that means. Says he has a big operation coming. Could be good, could be bad. Trump tweets out the picture of Nancy Pelosi breaking down in their meeting today, literally standing up, pointing fingers, and then her and Chuck Schumer left. But the picture tells the tale. Trump retweeted it. And folks, again, InfoWarsStore.com is how we do everything we do here. I got to go to these clips, but folks, emergency sales up to 70% off items at InfoWarsStore.com. Before I move on, here's Project Veritas with their exposure of CNN, showing how CNN wants Trump impeached. That's literally their agenda.
I want to acknowledge that I know these tweets from Project Veritas. And then finally, look, we are at an incredibly important time in history and in this country, and this is the story, okay? And I don't want to be distracted by, other things. This is it. And I want to be fully committed to it and not take our eye off this ball. This is unbelievably important and unbelievably significant. And I don't want to be afraid to say things like that. I don't want to be afraid to call it out on the air and online or on any aspect of digital. And I also don't want to be afraid to call out those who are covering it up and obfuscating and coming out and saying there's nothing to see here because they're lying. Okay?
Yeah, even though it was your own Van Jones that admitted it was fake in another exposure from Project Veritas. But folks, that's going to do it. We're going to go to break, though, because just to prove that Project Veritas is the realest and I mean, should have a closet full of Pulitzer Prizes, just as they got on that clip from CNN saying it's all about impeachment. It's all about getting Trump out of office. The Democrats are on board too, folks. So I'm going to sign off telling you to stay classy. But here's last night, all the Democrats going along right with the CIA, CNN News Network. It's all about impeaching Trump. Here were the impeach Trump calls, as we predicted, from last night's Democrat debate.
Julian Castro, Amy Klobuchar, Beto O'Rourke, Andrew Yang, Pete Buttigieg, Elizabeth Warren, Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, Tom Steyer, Tulsi Gabbard, the Democratic candidates for President of the United States.
Impeachment is the way that we establish that this man will not be permitted to break the law over and over without consequences. This is about Donald Trump, but understand, it's about the next president and the next president and the next president and the future of this country. The impeachment must go forward.
Thank you, Senator Warren.
I think that the House will find him worthy of impeachment because of the emoluments clause. So I look forward, by the way, not only to a speedy and expeditious impeachment process, but Mitch McConnell has got to do the right thing and allow a free and fair trial in the Senate.
Well, I said from the beginning that if, in fact, Trump continued to stonewall what the Congress is entitled to know about his background, what he did, all the accusations in the Mueller report, if they did that, they would have no choice but to begin an impeachment proceeding, which gives them more power to seek more information. In fact, he will not cooperate in any way at all, will not list any witnesses, will not provide any information, will not do anything to cooperate with the impeachment. They have no choice but to move.
I don't really think this impeachment process is going to take very long, because as a former prosecutor, I know a confession when I see it. And he did it in plain sight. He has given us the evidence, and he tried to cover it up, putting it in that special server. And there's been a clear consciousness of guilt. This will not take very long. Donald Trump needs to be held accountable. He is indeed the most corrupt and unpatriotic president we have ever had.
We are talking about ongoing proceedings to remove a sitting president for office. This has got to be about patriotism and not partisanship. Look, I share the same sense of urgency of everybody on this stage. I understand the outrage that we all feel, but we have to conduct this process in a way that is honorable, that brings our country together, doesn't rip us apart. So I swore an oath to do my job as a senator, do my duty. This president has violated his, I will do mine.
We have a constitutional duty to pursue this impeachment, but we also can stand up for America, because this president has not been putting America in front of his own personal interests. It doesn't make America great again. It makes Russia great again. And that is what this president has done.
What we have to recognize is that not only did the Mueller report point out 10 different instances where the president obstructed justice or tried to, and he made that call to President Zelensky of the Ukraine, but he is ongoingly, in an ongoing way, violating his oath of office and abusing his power. We have to impeach this president, and the majority of Americans not only support impeachment, they support removal. He should be removed.
Look, the president has left the Congress with no choice. And this is not just about holding the president accountable for not just the things emerging in these investigations, but actions that he has confessed to on television. It's also about the presidency itself, because a president 10 years or 100 years from now will look back at this moment and draw the conclusion either that no one is above the law or that a president can get away with anything.
If impeachment is driven by these hyper-partisan interests, it will only further divide an already terribly divided country. Unfortunately, this is what we've already seen play out, as calls for impeachment really began shortly after Trump won his election. And as unhappy as that may make us as Democrats, he won that election in 2016. If the House votes to impeach, the Senate does not vote to remove Donald Trump, he walks out and he feels exonerated, further deepening the divides in this country that we cannot afford.
2 years.